possible. Okay, so thank you very much. Hayley, over to you. Let me remove all this stuff.
Good morning. We good? I feel nervous. I hardly ever feel nervous, but today I feel nervous. It's like not many people take me very seriously a lot of the time because I'm the class clown, so. One of the things that has resonated with me the past couple of weeks is a meme that I saw recently, and it says this: my entire life can be described in one sentence. It didn't go as planned. And that's okay. So I'd been thinking about that, and I thought, geez, that sounds like my life, eh? Like nothing in my life has gone according to plan. And this word popped into my head when I read that. And I thought, okay, we all have a plan. More often than not, things don't go as planned. And so what do we have to do? We have to adjust, right? And sometimes it's a very difficult thing to do. So in preparing for what I was going to say to you today, I thought, well, I've never really actually looked at the dictionary to see what does this word adjust actually mean in the dictionary. And the dictionary definition is this: to alter or move something slightly in order to achieve the desired fit, appearance, or result. Some synonyms for adjust would be to modify, balance, alter, and adapt. All right. So a key point that I want to bring up there is this little word called slightly. We go through life, just short story, my life has kind of been somewhat tumultuous, and sharing experiences of your life puts you in a little bit of a vulnerable place. So if you don't mind, I'm going to be just a little bit vulnerable with you today and just share very briefly, just for you to get a concept of the slight movements, the slight adjustments that sometimes need to be made to be able to move forward in your plan. So we all start off with a plan. We all have an idea. I want to go there. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know what it's going to take for me to get there, but that's where I want to go, And I started off my journey, got married, had kids, worked, studied, didn't study, had more kids, all of these things that were not necessarily part of the greater plan, but life happened, Life happened. And so along the way, I had to make adjustments. And 3 of the areas that I realized that were the most key to make these adjustments in my life is language, volume, and speed. Now, it doesn't make any sense because right now they're just 3 words on a white piece of paper, And those are the 3 areas that I realized that I needed to make adjustments and that I had made adjustments. And I think it's 3 things that sometimes we don't pay too much attention to, but I think it's important for us to be able to do that, because when life knocks you, it's so easy to just sit in a corner and say, well, that's not part of the plan. I'm just going to sit here and I'm not going to carry on with my plan. Some people will go the other route and say, well, that's not part of the plan, so I'm just going to change the plan completely and go in a completely different direction. And that can be positive or negative, because sometimes it can be very destructive behavior that causes you to veer off the plan. Now, Map for Life in itself is an action plan. It is a plan for our lives. It is a plan for our dreams, our desires, our passions. It's a plan for those things that we want to accomplish in our lives, where we want to see our lives go. Sometimes, just sometimes, all we need to do is make small modifications, small adjustments, small movements, small thoughts, small decisions that can have a very, very huge impact later on if we're willing to be patient and if we're willing to stay the course. Because that dream, that desire, that seed that was planted in us to have this dream, this passion, this drive that brings us to a place like Map for Life for us to understand and unpack. Sometimes it's worth staying the course. You know, sometimes it's worth persevering, being patient, to just keep moving with the plan, even though life happens, even though things happen in our lives that veer us off course. And so I think of often, you know, you get into a car, and so often this happens to me. You get into a car and you sit in the passenger seat, and the seat's not necessarily in the position that you need it to be. And so what's your first thing that you do, Ayanda?
You adjust.
You change the seating position to suit where you are. You don't just sit in the seat and think, oh gosh, this is going to be the most uncomfortable ride. I'm just going to go along. I'm so uncomfortable. My back is slouched forward. I can't move the seat. You adjust the seat. Why can't we do that in life? You know, we walk around life and like, oh, life is, woe is me. My life is awful. Well, what would happen if you just adjusted your seating position so that you had a more comfortable journey? It's not a radical thought, you know, it's not difficult, it's not completely out there, but it's often a thought that we don't think about. When your pants doesn't fit you, because you've gained a couple of pounds, Jason, what do? You take it to the tailor and you have him adjust it. You know, there's so many things in life that it's so easy without a second thought. We think, oh, well, this pants needs adjusting. It's too long for me. Take it to the tailor and we have it adjusted. But this life that we live, this one life that we get given, we often don't think of in simple terms because life is created in our minds as it's complicated and it's, you know, it's harder than it should be. So let's talk about language. We all have a dialogue, we all have a narrative that we kind of have in our lives. You know, those things that we say over and over to ourselves. And to get into that vulnerable space, my narrative for a very, very, very long time was, am I enough? Am I enough? Am I enough as a person? Am I enough as a mother? Am I enough as a wife? Am I enough as a friend? What I bring to the table every day in my daily life, is that enough? And so there was a question that haunted me for years. And probably about 6 months ago, my question changed from, am I enough? And it moved to, I am enough. So just 3 words, exactly the same 3 words. But when the language changed, my perspective changed. My life changed. The way in which my life was moving changed. So it was no longer, am I enough? As a question, it was a statement saying, here I am Hayley, I am enough. And that's the way I started to approach my life. So small changes in our language. Maybe you have something in your life. Maybe you have a narrative that's in your work, in your relationships, in your friendships, in your spiritual life. Maybe you have a narrative. And maybe you could spend a bit of time thinking, what language am I using with myself? What language am I using when I interact with people? And ask yourself the question, do I need to make any adjustments in this language to have a better outcome? Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, volume. Now, everybody that knows me knows that I am super bass, like loud. Like I live life on volume 40 all the time. And so the natural response is, as soon as I go quiet, people start to like, are you okay? Like is everything okay? You're not talking as loud as you usually talk. You're not talking as much as you usually talk. So volume and I are big friends. I like my TV loud. I like my car radio loud. I speak loud. I laugh loud. Everything about me is loud. So my challenge today is, what's on loud in your life? What are the thoughts? What are the conversations? Which relationships on full blast in your life that influence you on a daily basis? What's the volume level of the things ranked as important or not important in your life? What are you listening to? Because the things that we're listening to are the things that move us in a particular direction, right? So if you're listening to negative, down, sad, depressing, your life is most likely going to become negative, down, sad, and depressing. If we listen to hyper, upbeat, constantly on the go, your life is going to possibly move in that direction. And so there's a balance that has to be created. You know, in your radio, when you're adjusting the volume, there's that little balance. Do you want to hear from one speaker? Do you want to hear from the other speaker? Or do you want an equal balance of both speakers so that you get the perfect element of sound in your car? Same as life. How balanced is your volume? What are you listening to? What are you allowing to feed into your life? And if so, how do you need to adjust that volume? How do you need to adjust the balance in your life? Still with me? Oh, good. Finally, speed. So I kind of generally go. I drive very fast. People that, you wanna, when I drive, he's like, thank you, Lord, I'm still alive. I drive very fast. And so what happens when you drive very fast is you tend to focus on your speed, and sometimes you don't focus on the things that are happening around you because you're going so fast. And so you miss maybe that guy on the bicycle that I've almost clipped like 3 times the past week with my mirror because I was going fast. I was focused in the road. I saw nothing else outside of the road. So what I had to ask myself is, what speed am I going at? Am I going at an optimal speed in my life? Am I just rushing through things? Am I just not paying attention to the things that are important? Or am I on super slow, chilled, calm, relaxed vibe where nothing bothers me, I'm all good? You know what I'm saying? So speed is important, I think. You gotta adjust your speed to match your volume and your language that you're speaking and that you're listening to feeds into your volume and your speed of your daily life. So, you know, just think about your speed. Think about what speed are you going in at in your life? Relationally, at work, are you just work focused? Like everything's work? Because when we're doing or focusing a lot more on one thing, something else is suffering on the other side. That's just life. That's just how it works. And so we got to create that balance. I read a quote by Confucius. I love Confucius. Confucius says this: "The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away one stone at a time." So, I mean, I know I've got lots of mountains that I'm facing at the moment. And so I have decided, because it's a choice, that I'm going to adjust my mindset to not looking at the mountains, but looking at all the stones on the bottom and moving those stones away one at a time. Those obstacles, those negative thoughts, those negative words that come out of my mouth about who I am, and I will move my mountain by making tiny, slight modifications, adjustments, by altering small things. The mountains can be moved. Has this been helpful to you?
Excellent.
I hope so. I hope so. Thank you so much.